So what's the measure of a good product? Well, at the very least, it's got to meet our expectations. If it exceeds our expectations, the more the better. Now, there's been a lot of chatter about the TONEX pedal. A lot of you guys who grabbed it are really happy with it. There have been questions about it, some of the things it may or may not have. But remember, it's about your own expectations and what you need for your own workflow. But from what I've seen is that most people have been really thrilled with the TONEX pedal. I mean, what it is, it's an amazing amp modeler pedal in a very small form factor. But a question that's come up is, can we use the TONEX pedal as a cab IR loader for our tube amps? Now that certainly would be an intangible if our little amp modeler can suddenly become a cab IR loader too. Well, I've tested it and I'm going to share my findings with you. Why don't you join me? So the timing of this video couldn't be better, at least for me, because of the day I decided to tackle this topic. Multimedia releases an update to TONEX which addresses a bug to third-party cab IRs. Yes, you can actually import third-party cab IRs into TONEX. If you've never done that before, I'll show you in this video. But there was an issue because the level was too low. So that's actually been fixed in version 1.1.3. So if you are trying to use third-party cab IRs and we're having issues, make sure to update to that version, and that'll solve all of your problems. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to create 3 cab IR patches. I'm going to start off with one of the standard tone models in TONEX. I'm going to extract the cabinet and turn that into a preset. And then I'm going to grab one of the random, just a VIR cabinet, maybe make some tweaks to it. We'll save that as a preset. And we'll use a third-party cab IR, import that into TONEX, make another preset, and we're going to put them all on the pedal. I'm going to show you the steps and some things to consider with those presets to help you turn your TONEX pedal into a cab IR loader pedal. All right, let's get started. So technically you can do everything you need to do within the pedal itself because you can actually go into the parameters here. You can turn off amps, you can turn off cabinets. So a lot of what we're going to do today, you can do within the pedal. I just think there's a certain efficiency to do it within the TONEX application, and then we're going to zap everything over to the pedal. But do note that you can actually do it on the pedal as well. Anyways, so as I mentioned, I'm going to create 3 different presets. So the first one, we're going to start off with a standard built-in tone model, extract the cabinet, and create a preset. So to create a custom preset, we can start with an existing tone model and then we can modify that to our needs. So we'll just Black Angus, since it's at the top of the list, it really doesn't matter. So we click on that. Now what we're going to do, first thing, is we want to turn off the amplifier because we're not going to need that. And simply by clicking the button up here, that will turn off the amp. Now we can choose which cabinet that we want to do. Now this works better with a guitar in your hand. I recommend auditioning different cabinets based on your setup, just for simplicity for this demo. Let's pretend I have a guitar here. Anyways, we can go in here and we can choose any number of cabinets. I've already looked through this, 4x12. The Eagle's Claw, this is an angle cabinet. I think that should match nicely with my cabinet. So now that's selected. And then we can go into the advanced parameters where there could be some EQing or other sculpting here. We want to turn that off. So we just hit reset channel. See that reset the EQ curve. We don't want any additional coloring. We want to have that cabinet as pure as possible. Also make sure to turn off the reverb, the compressor, and the noise gate, as we don't want any additional processing in our cab IR. Now to save it as a preset, click on this button right here, and I will give it a name. Just to make it easy to find, I'll call it 1 angle 4x12 cab IR. And now we can save that as a preset, and we'll be able to flip that over to the pedal afterwards. Okay, so that's saved. We're going to come back to that in a moment. Let's create our second preset, but this time I'm going to manipulate one of the VIR cabinets to create another preset that we're going to send over to the pedal. So the process starts off the same as before to create this cab IR. Again, we'll start with Black Angus. Again, we're going to turn off the amplifier because we don't need that. And we're going to go into the cab section once again, but this time we're going to go into the VIR section. And I've already pre-selected the 412B900. So now we've got that selected. So the thing with the VIR is that we have virtual access to the microphone placement by just clicking that little button at the side of the amplifier here. And now we can go in and reposition the microphones. Again, this works much better if you're playing your guitar. But I'm just going to go in here and make a couple of adjustments to this because we want this to be a custom IR for our needs. So we'll move this around here. You can adjust the resonance. Maybe we'll tighten it up a little bit. Since we'll favor the second microphone here a little bit. I'm just guessing right now, but anyways, so once that's set, you can close that, and just like before, we can save this as a preset. We're going to call this VIR 4x12, and then we can save that. And now if we go into our presets, you can see we've got the second one waiting for us right here. And lastly, I'm going to create a preset with a third-party cab IR. So any cab IR you're using with any other cab IR loader, you can actually load them into TONEX. If you haven't done that before, I'll show you how to do that. And then we're going to create the third preset that we are ultimately going to load onto the TONEX pedal. All right, so the same as the other two, we want to turn off our amplifier again. We're going to go into our cabinet section once again, but now you want to look down here at custom IR. I've got some preloaded here, but if you want to add any custom IRs that you've got in your computer, just click the plus button, navigate to your cab IR directory, and we'll load that in. And that will add it to the list here. Now I've got actually a York Audio cab IR. It's a Mesa cabinet that I pre-selected, so we're going to choose that. So just like before, and then again double check in the advanced parameters that nothing else is adjusted here. Always good to double check that, and then we can close that. So once again, we have a new preset here, or about to be a preset just for the cabinet, but this time it's a third-party cab IR. And again, we'll save that. We'll call that number 3. And same thing, which is other, or your cab only, and then we can save that. So we go back into our preset list here. Now we can see the 3 presets that we've created already to zap over to the pedal. Okay, so now that I have all 3 of my cab IR presets ready to go, I need to get it onto the pedal. So we've got it fired up, and we're going to hook it up to the computer with the USB cable. And then using the librarian, we're going to transfer those presets onto the pedal, and then we'll get this hooked up to the amp. So now that the pedal is connected to the computer, we can navigate over to the librarian, and then you can find the place where you want to put your new presets. I'm going to override my previous test. So we've got the angle one here, so I'm going to put it over here, and you can overwrite what's there. Number 2, we'll stick it in the second slot in B. Let's see, overwrite, and then we've got the third one there. Great, so now I've got my 3 cab IR presets stored on the pedal. All right, so let's get into the setup, and then I'm going to show you the 3 different cab IRs. We just heard one of them. Anyways, using this Les Paul Frankenstein-ish kind of guitar, I talked about this in another video, and it used to have a Bigsby. It doesn't anymore. We'll talk about why in some other video. Anyways, this guitar is running into the Engel Powerball 2. We're in channel 4, that's the high gain channel, and that's going directly into the Sur reactive load, and then the Sur reactive load is going into the TONEX pedal, and the IR is coming from the preset, one of the presets that we created earlier. So why don't we dial into the 3 presets and we can hear how they sound. So what you just heard actually was setting 3. That was the York Audio cab IR. We'll come back to that one in a second, but basically I've got the 3 cab IRs set here on the pedal, and it's in bank 48, which has different banks, and then there's different patches within each bank. So I've actually got, we'll go to number 1 here. So this is the Engel cabinet. This is the one that was part of the Tone model. And why don't we bypass the cabinet so we can hear the raw amplifier. So what we can do here, because that has got a really boomy bottom end, as you know, I was creating the cab IRs without listening to the guitar, which I could have addressed some of these things before, but I actually didn't want to, because I just wanted the pure cab IR, and then we're going to make adjustments here on the pedal. If you've got the pedal, then you know that there's all sorts of adjustments built right in. I'm going to go back to the regular setting here. So in normal mode, we've got an EQ here. So that was a bit boomy, so why don't we just take the bass down a little bit. Let's see if we bring it down a little bit here. And then let's say give it a little bit more mid-range maybe, or you can cut the mid-range if you want the scoop sound. You can actually get into the EQ here and tweak your cab IR, if that's what we're calling it. Maybe brighten it up a little bit. Not too much. And if we go into the alternate settings here, we've got presence. And we've got the depth control here as well. And if we want, we can bring some reverb into our setting here as well. A little bit much. And then we can save that back onto the exact same patch if we just hold this button right here. And now that cab IR setting we created in the app has been updated here on the pedal, I advise you to do that once you're in the environment that you're playing the guitar. You can make some adjustments here on the pedal. Now, like I said, that's adjustable. We're doing this on the fly. So let's check out the other one. So now if we go in the second bank here, or the second patch, this was the VR cabinet. I remember I did this one blind, so I'm not really sure how this one's going to sound. Let's take a listen. So it's actually a bit quiet, right? So we can actually adjust the volume. Actually, we're going to go to the regular mode here. This is why I don't like to have a guitar in my hand when I'm doing a demo. Anyways. So this one is actually a bit quieter. Now this is something I could have adjusted within the TONEX app before I got here, but we're going to have to live with it now. But I think what we can do, we can add a little compression. And one last little tweak here. All right, so just to give you an idea of the tweaks that we can do, and I won't bother adding reverb, but you know that you can. So we'll just save this here. And that's now saved. Now the last one, which you actually heard right at the beginning, that's the York Audio cab IR. Kind of like that one. Maybe give it a little bit of volume. Add some reverb. So again, if we like that, we can save it just by holding this preset button, click a couple times, and now we've got our updates here. So now, if you like those settings and you want to bring them back into your computer, you can just do the opposite that we did when we were in the TONEX app. Is we can hook the pedal back up to the computer. We can find those presets in the librarian in the pedal section, and then we can bring that back into our DAW if we want to save that for later. So I just love the workflow with the TONEX platform, just because we can go from the pedal, we can go from the app and back and forth. Because sometimes if you're shaping those tones, it's better to do that within the room or in the environment that you're playing in. So if you're at a gig and you're sort of doing sound check, you can get in, you can tweak your IR here and save that patch, and you've got it later. You can copy it, do all sorts of things. But I can say with full confidence that we can definitely use the TONEX pedal as a cab IR loader pedal. We've got all sorts of adjustments and things built into the pedal, so you can tweak that IR. I showed you the workflow. Of course, you can tweak it to your needs, but definitely something you can take with you and adjust in the room that you're playing in. And I think that makes it a really versatile option as a cab IR loader pedal. Well, there you have the brand new IK Multimedia TONEX cab IR loader pedal. You know what? I think it's a really great feature of this pedal. I'm not sure if they intended this product to be able to do that, but it's always cool when you discover different uses for a pedal, especially a digital product like this. I mean, if you've tried TONEX, if you've already got TONEX, I'm sure you've already got opinions. There's been a lot of chatter about it. But I think this is just one more reason to consider the pedal. Ultimately, any product has to fit into your workflow. Every product is not for everyone. I've had a lot of fun with this pedal, including the whole TONEX platform. It's been a lot of fun. But this is maybe one more reason to consider it. If you've already got it and you've been wondering if you can do that, well, now you know the steps. If you have tried this, maybe you've got some thoughts to add to this discussion. I would love to hear from you. That's what the comment section is for. If you have any general comments or anything at all, again, comment section, that's what it's there for. I'll do my best to answer as many questions as I can. If you are considering the TONEX pedal and you're in the Sweetwater Catch area, I do have an affiliate link in the description. It doesn't cost you any more, but it kicks a little bit back to the studio and helps me bring you more content just like this. Plus, I've got a whole list of all kinds of different products, things I have here in the studio, some essentials, and like I said, it all helps the studio, and I really appreciate that. But if you do want to support this channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. I'm also on Patreon if you want to do a deeper dive with me, and I even have merch, all sorts of ways to help this little channel out. It's all in the description, and I really appreciate that. But the easiest way and the free way to really support this channel is to watch another video. I've got one waiting for you right here. And remember, you don't need a band to rock and roll. I look forward to seeing you again in another video.